Hi everyone. I'm gonna do a tutorial today on buffalo check. I love buffalo check. I think it's so fun. I did it a little bit different where I kind of distressed it. I love a distressed look. So let's go ahead and turn this into this. Let's see. I just did a slight little prep where I painted my little board here white. It's a little dirty. Kids have been messing around over here. So start with your white. Take your tape here and kind of eyeball your center. My kids are in the pool if you hear them over there screaming. My husband's in there with them. It's a little crooked. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. And I use a little piece here as a spacer. Space out my tape. Leave enough room to wrap your edges here. Because, well, my edge is kind of beveled. My husband cut these and beveled them for me. So I leave enough tape to wrap around the edges so I can bring my paint down and have a consistent edge. Oh, I cut that one too short, right? As I told you to do that. But that's okay, because I'll just piece another piece here. Like this. Okay. Make sure everything is down nice and tight. Edges are nice and tight. Monroe. So I'm doing your standard buffalo check. So you do white, your lightest gray, a darker gray, and a black. So your first step is going to be your lightest gray. So I'm just going to take a little bit, put it on my plate here. My brush was wet. Okay. And then just paint your stripes, your light gray stripes here. And like I said, I go down my edges because my husband did this nice little bevel here for me. They don't have to be perfect, especially mine, because I do like to distress them. Real quick, easy gray stripes. I got glitter. My kids had a glitter fest. They were doing Easter eggs and all kinds of stuff. Now I got glitter everywhere. It just seems to come up everywhere. But that's okay. Whatever. Okay, so remove your tape. Crisp, nice, clean lines. I love stripes. I love doing stripes. They're so fun. There's just something so satisfying about a nice, clean, striped line. Okay, so you let this dry. For the purpose of the video, I have a dry one so that we can continue on. Now, For mine, I distressed it. So I just took a sanding block and I just went over it. I like that kind of distressed look. I actually, on this one, it was an accident because I was just kind of playing around with it, seeing if I could do it, how it would come out, and I was very impatient. So I just taped over not dried paint, and it came out all chippy. My paint stuck to the tape and peeled off, and it was all done. I was like, oh, it's kind of cool. I really like it. So I'm like, well, let's go ahead and recreate that. And I'm going to do that by just giving it some sanding here. My sanding shaking the camera. You can do as little or as much as you feel, or none at all. You don't even have to do that. Some people like a cleaner look. I just happen to like a distressed look. So now we are gonna tape again. And I'm gonna reuse my tape because I don't like to be wasteful. I'm gonna eyeball my middle again. Here. I think that looks straight. We'll see. Again, a little spacer here. This one, Buffalo Check, it does take a little longer than most of the tutorials I've done because there is quite a bit of drying time in between. And you have to be a little bit more precise than anything I usually do. It is a little bit more tedious, but it's worth it to get that look. I mean, that look is so popular right now. I love the Buffalo Check look. Okay. So this one's a little short. So I'm just gonna piece it together. Okay, make sure, again, everything, your tape is on there really tight. It's down flat. There's no room for bleeding. Your edges are down. Edges are down. Really nice and smoothly. I don't like this one right here. Add a little bit more. Okay. So now we are going to move on to our darker gray. Just clean off my brush real fast. Okay. So our darker gray. And you're just gonna go, again, same thing, get your stripes painted. It gets, I have to think about it sometimes because I'm like, okay, there's so many steps. Not so many, there's what, 3 or 4 steps to this? And I have to remember, okay, am I painting the right color in the right spot? Am I leaving the tape on or pulling it off? All right. So now this part, you're leaving the tape on. Leave your tape on, let it dry completely. Again, that's another step in waiting. But for the video, I have one that's dry. So you're leaving your tape on. Now, if you see, this is lighter, darker, lighter, darker, lighter. So you're gonna take your tape, and you're gonna tape on the lighter. And you're gonna want to try to line this up as close as you can. Try to get it almost perfectly over that white part there. So you're covering up the lighter line underneath. Again, this lighter where you can see your white shining through, that's where you're putting your tape. It should be fairly easy to see. So you're overlapping your tape. Make sure your tape's down. And now you're gonna do your black. Cleaning my brush. Okay. So now, let's take your black on these little squares. You don't have to do the whole thing, just get inside your little squares here. Like I said, the hardest part about this for me is one, the waiting in between for each part to dry, but also trying to get even spacing, having to get it all covered exactly. Perfect squares, perfect lines, because the flow check is kind of perfect. Okay, here's my black squares. So I'm gonna go ahead and peel this up. Okay. And peel this up. Here's kind of the moment of truth here. Yes! My tape took up more, which I love because I love that look. If you don't want this look, let your paint dry overnight. If you don't want the worn look, because you will have this if you don't let it dry completely. I like that look though. It's so cool. Ah. Okay. And there's your buffalo check. How fun is that? Like I said, the hardest part is the waiting for it to dry and the getting the straight lines. But just take your time, concentrate on what you're doing, and you get a really, really cool buffalo check. I can't wait to finish the rest of these. So then I'll have 3 cool signs. All right, guys, enjoy. Happy painting.